Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into something that's fundamentally changing the game in digital security. Forget, the old ideas about just building bigger walls around your network. We're diving deep into what some might call essential paranoia, a whole security model known as zero trust.
Mm-hmm. Essential paranoia, I like that.
Yeah, think of it like this maybe. You're at some big medieval feast, right? Food everywhere, drinks flowing. And then the king's advisor, this really pragmatic old guy, he leans in and whispers, "Trust no one." Seriously, not even the person passing the mashed potatoes.
Uh-huh, right. Don't trust the potato guy.
Exactly. And that's pretty much the vibe in our digital world now. Hackers are just incredibly sneaky, relentless. So zero trust is basically that mindset saying, prove it every single time.
Yeah, it's a huge shift. Instead of assuming, oh, you're inside the network, you must be okay, it questions absolutely every interaction.
And it's not about being, difficult or rude online. It's really about building real strength, resilience, because let's face it, the digital world is kind of treacherous.
Absolutely. And that's our mission today, really. We want to break down the key ideas from all the research and sources you've gathered on Zero Trust. We'll unpack what it actually is beyond the buzzword. We'll explore why it's become so critical, indispensable for just surviving online today. And importantly, how this seemingly strict, maybe even paranoid approach affects everyone. Big companies, sure, but also you, just using your phone or laptop.
Right.
It's about making that skepticism, that paranoia, actually useful, giving you the knowledge to understand why this model is basically non-negotiable as we head further into, well, 2025 and beyond.
Okay, so let's set the scene first. Let's rewind a bit to what we might call the old school cybersecurity world. A lot of us probably remember this, or maybe still even see bits of it around. Picture that classic fortress analogy, Organizations built these massive digital walls around their internal networks.
Right, the perimeter.
Exactly, the perimeter, creating this kind of digital castle moat, trying to protect the servers, the sensitive data inside. The whole idea was super simple: keep the bad guys out.
If they're outside, they can't hurt us. That was the theory.
Yeah, so we had these hefty firewalls right at the edge of the network, a really clear line, safe inside, dangerous outside.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had VPNs, virtual private networks. Those were like the trusted drawbridges, right? Letting remote employees securely cross that moat to get inside.
Yep, connecting back to the castle.
And don't forget antivirus software.
Yeah.
That was like the guard dog on every individual computer, sniffing out known threats. The hope, really, was that all these tools together would make an impenetrable barrier.
Yeah, impenetrable. That was the dream. But looking back now, it's almost startling how quickly that whole approach, that Maginot Line thinking, just became obsolete.
It really did crumble fast, didn't it?
It did. That idea of a single, super strong outer wall, like a medieval fortress, it just couldn't handle the reality of modern digital life. Why? Because the threats themselves changed dramatically. Suddenly, you had this huge rise in insider threats. People already inside the walls. Maybe they were malicious, maybe just careless, but they were past the moat from the start.
Right, the threat wasn't just outside anymore.
Exactly. And then boom, the massive shift to remote work, especially in the last few years, that just blew enormous holes in the perimeter concept. You had people logging in from home networks, coffee shops, using personal phones, tablets. The edge just dissolved.
It became fuzzy. Very fuzzy.
Very fuzzy. And add cloud computing to the mix. Your data, your apps, they weren't sitting neatly inside your physical building anymore. They were spread across different services, often outside your direct control.
So the castle walls didn't even contain the treasure anymore.
Precisely. So attackers, they always found a way. An unlocked back door, a phished password giving inside access, an employee's own unsecured laptop connecting. It forced this really critical question. If threats can genuinely pop up from anywhere inside, outside, partner networks, compromised devices, how on earth do you actually protect anything valuable?
Yeah, how do you?
And that's where Zero Trust comes in. It's the answer. It's a model that starts by assuming threats are everywhere, inside and outside. It just dismantles that whole idea of inherent trust based on location.
Okay, so that failure of the perimeter, that realization, it leads right into where this whole zero trust idea actually came from.
Yeah.
It sounds kind of ancient, like deep security wisdom, but the term itself isn't that old, right?
No, not at all. It was actually coined by Forrester Research, the analyst firm, back in 2010.
Okay, 2010. So relatively recent in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. And the core idea, the big wake-up call then, was realizing that just blindly trusting everyone and everything inside your network, simply because they were, internal, that was like leaving your front door wide open.
With a neon sign.
Exactly. A big flashing sign saying, "Come on in, hackers." It forced everyone to admit, maybe uncomfortably, that their internal networks weren't these safe little gardens they thought they were. The old defenses just weren't cutting it.
It was a necessary dose of reality.
It really was. And zero trust. It just flips that entire script. The basic principle isn't just verify, then trust. It's more like verify, verify, and then, you know what? Keep verifying.
Continuous.
Continuously. The model just insists, with zero exceptions.
Mm-hmm.
No user, no phone, no server, no app. Absolutely nothing gets access to any resource.
Like even the coffee machine.
Haha, well, maybe not the basic coffee machine, but certainly the network-connected smart fridge. But seriously, whether it's critical financial data, a specific piece of software, maybe even the controls for the building's AC, nothing gets access without first proving meticulously that it's legitimate.
And legitimate means more than just a password, I take it.
Oh, way more. It means passing rigorous checks. More checks than you'd face trying to get into a top-secret facility. It's this relentless, ongoing process of authentication and authorization. It challenges every single assumption about who or what should be allowed access, no matter where they are or if they were approved 5 minutes ago.
So it's not static. It's dynamic.
Completely dynamic.
Yep.
Moving away from that fixed perimeter to this constant, fluid process of validation. It's a total rethink.
Okay, let's dig into the pillars then. The core ideas that hold this whole principled distrust thing up. Think of this as like your basic training in healthy digital paranoia. The first one, and you kind of said it already, but it's key. Never assume trust.
Bedrock. Absolutely fundamental.
Right. This means everyone, from the CEO down to the brand new intern who, let's be honest, probably uses password 123 for something, everyone's treated as a potential risk.
No exceptions based on rank or location.
None. That automatic trust we used to give anything inside. Gone. Wiped clean. Every user, every single device, every application. Doesn't matter if it's physically in the building or connecting from halfway across the world.
Mm-hmm.
You have to assume it could already be compromised.
Yeah.
And this isn't just about people, right? It applies to machines talking to each other, too.
Absolutely. Servers, IoT devices, microservices, within an application, the principle applies universally. Anything requesting access needs to prove it's trustworthy at that moment. It fundamentally changes the default security posture from allow unless blocked to block unless explicitly allowed and verified.
Okay, so if you assume nothing is trustworthy by default, the next logical step has to be verify everything.
You got it.
And you emphasize this isn't just a one-time check. It's not just typing your password when you log in Monday morning.
No way. We're talking multi-factor authentication, MFA, as the absolute baseline, the bare minimum.
Which most people have probably encountered now, right? Like password plus a code from your phone or a fingerprint.
Exactly. Something you know, password, something you have, phone token, something you are biometric. That's standard stuff now.
Mm-hmm.
But zero trust often goes much, much further.
How so?
It can pull in advanced biometrics, maybe facial recognition, maybe voice. It looks at contextual data like, where are you logging in from? Is this your usual device? Is the device healthy? Does it have the latest security patches?
So it's checking the device itself, too.
Constantly. And even behavioral analytics. How are you using the system? Does your typing speed suddenly change? Are you trying to access files you never touch? It's this intense, continuous verification, not just at the gate, but throughout the entire time you're connected.
Wow, okay. So never assume trust, verify everything continuously. What's next?
The principle of least privilege.
Ah, right. Giving people only the access they absolutely need to do their job and nothing more.
Precisely. It's about surgical precision with access rights. Think about it.
Huh.
Why does someone in marketing need access to the raw code repository for the company's main product?
But they don't, usually.
Right. Or why does a customer service rep need admin rights to the main database? They just need to look up customer info, maybe update contact details.
So you restrict access purely based on job function.
Exactly.
Heck.
Strictly limited to what's absolutely necessary, no more, no less. This massively shrinks the potential damage if an account does get compromised.
Yeah, that makes sense. If a hacker gets into a low-level account, they can't immediately jump to the crown jewels.
Correct. It contains the blast radius, limits lateral movement across the network. It's a hugely important containment strategy built right into the access model.
Okay, that's 3. Is there a 4th main pillar?
Yes, and it ties everything
Like
together.
this.
Continuous
We're
monitoring.
watching like a hawk.
Constantly. Zero trust demands unwavering vigilance. You have to assume that even your most trusted, security-aware employee might accidentally click a very convincing phishing link. It happens.
We're all human.
We're all human. So it's not just about checking at the start, or even periodically. It's about always watching, logging every significant action, every access attempt, every data flow, and critically, analyzing all that data in real time.
Looking for weird stuff.
Looking for weird stuff, exactly.
Yeah.
Anomalies, deviations from normal patterns, anything that smells suspicious. The system needs to be able to flag that instantly.
So zooming out again, these four pillars: never assume trust, verify everything, least privilege, continuous monitoring, they really paint a picture of a fundamentally different approach.
They absolutely do. And it's crucial to understand these aren't just like separate technical settings you flick on. They represent a complete shift in mindset in security culture.
It's not just a buzzword for the IT folks.
Not at all. It's a way of operating. It's the cybersecurity equivalent of, double checking the door is locked, checking the windows, setting the alarm every single night, because you understand the potential risks are real and persistent.
Proactive, not reactive.
Exactly. It assumes compromise will happen, or at least be attempted, and designs the system to minimize the chance of success and limit the damage when it does. It's about building resilience from the ground up, anticipating failure rather than just hoping it won't occur.
Okay, this is where it gets maybe a bit personal, potentially uncomfortable for, well, all of us. We have to talk about the human element.
Ah, yes.
Us, let's just be honest here, humans are very often the weakest link in the cybersecurity chain, aren't we?
Statistically and anecdotally, yes. It's a hard truth.
We make mistakes. We get tricked by clever scams, social engineering. And frankly, we often choose convenience over doing the super secure thing.
Like reusing passwords.
Oh, the password reuse. This one's easy to remember. I'll use it everywhere. Big mistake.
Hmm?
Or clicking on links that look tempting, promising something amazing.
The "you've won" emails.
Exactly. Or even just leaving your laptop unlocked when you run to grab a coffee. These little things, these everyday human habits, they become huge vulnerabilities.
They really do. And attackers know this. They count on it. They exploit our trust, our tendency to be helpful, our busy schedules, our desire for things to just work easily.
So in this current era, 2025, where cyber attacks feel like they're just constantly happening.
More common than cat videos, sadly.
Right. Our very human nature becomes this critical vulnerability that attackers are laser focused on.
Absolutely. And that's why the old model, the one that inherently trusted people just because they were inside, was so fundamentally flawed it didn't properly account for us.
It ignored the human factor.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It assumed the inside was safe, but didn't grapple with phishing or accidental clicks or someone being socially engineered over the phone.
Mm-hmm.
The sheer number and sophistication of attacks today mean trusting implicitly just doesn't work anymore.
So it's kind of ironic, zero trust, which sounds very technical and maybe impersonal.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually maybe the most human-aware security model because it acknowledges our flaws.
That's a great way to put it. It doesn't try to magically make humans perfect. It accepts our fallibility and builds a system that's resilient despite it. It designs defenses understanding that mistakes will happen and aims to contain them. It turns our biggest weakness into a managed risk.
Okay, so let's talk numbers. Because saying humans are the weak link sounds right, but how bad is it? How big a deal is this human element, really?
Right, let's ground this in some data because numbers really drive home the urgency. Consider this. In 2024, various reports, like the well-known Verizon DBIR, consistently show that a huge percentage, often cited around 68%, maybe even higher in some studies, of data breaches involve a human element.
Wow, over 2/3.
Yeah, that's massive.
Yeah.
We're talking about someone making a mistake, falling for a scam, misconfiguring something. It's directly linked back to human action or inaction.
Okay, well,
Phishing attacks, those scam emails, text messages trying to trick you into giving up info or clicking bad links. They saw a huge jump last year, something like 47% increase, reported widely.
so we're still falling for them a lot.
We are. Despite all the training and awareness, attackers are getting better, more personalized, more convincing. And then there's a remote work factor.
Right, the big shift.
Huge shift. Major analysts like Gartner reported that around 60% of companies basically had to completely overhaul their security strategies because of it. The old perimeter model just shattered when everyone went remote.
The attack surface just exploded.
Exploded. Suddenly you had company data being accessed from countless locations, devices, networks, many outside the company's direct control. It forced a reckoning with security models.
So putting all that together, the human errors, the phishing, the remote work explosion, what does this actually mean for you listening right now, whether you're running IT for a company or just trying to keep your own stuff safe?
It means zero trust isn't just, a nice to have or a good idea for big banks. It's rapidly becoming essential, an absolute necessity for survival in the current digital landscape.
It's the hero we need, maybe.
It's certainly the approach we need. It's the model that says, point blank, look, I don't care if you say you're the CEO or if you look like the CFO's email address, or if you're connecting from inside the building, prove it. Prove who you are. Prove your device is safe. Prove you're authorized for this specific thing right now.
Like a really tough bouncer.
Exactly. A very strict bouncer at a very exclusive club, checking ID meticulously, maybe checking your bag, watching your behavior the whole time you're inside, and you only get access to the specific room you're approved for, not the whole building.
No free roam.
No free roam. It proactively manages risk by just eliminating that dangerous default trust. It scrutinizes every single interaction as if it could be malicious, because frankly, it might be. Constant validation is the name of the game.
Okay, so if the philosophy is trust no one, verify everything, how do you actually do that? What are the tools, the strategies? What's in the zero trust toolkit or arsenal?
Right, let's talk practical implementation. What does this look like in terms of technology?
Let's start with the first hurdle. Proving who you are. Identity.
Absolutely critical. Zero Trust is obsessed with identity verification. Probably more obsessed than a border guard checking passports on high alert.
Ah, okay.
And like we touched on, multi-factor authentication, MFA, is just the starting point. The absolute table stakes.
Password plus something else.
Yep, that combo. Something you know, something you have, something you are. That second factor, the code on your phone, the fingerprint scan, that's MFA 101. We're all getting used to that irritation, right?
Yeah, the slight sigh before you grab your phone for the code.
Exactly. But Zero Trust often demands more and applies it more broadly, not just at an initial login.
So what's beyond standard MFA?
Well, you get into more advanced methods, stronger biometrics maybe, but also, crucially, context. Where are you? What device are you using? Is that device compliant with security policies? Is it patched? Is it encrypted? Does it show any signs of malware?
So it's checking the health of the device trying to connect.
Yes, device posture assessment is huge.
Okay.
And then there's the behavioral stuff we mentioned.
How you're acting.
Right. Does your activity look normal for you? Are you suddenly trying to download massive amounts of data at 3 a.m. when you usually work 9 to 5? Are you accessing systems from a country you've never connected from before?
Okay, so it builds a profile of normal behavior.
Exactly. Advanced systems use machine learning, behavioral analytics to spot anomalies. If you suddenly start typing like a robot or clicking weird things, it might trigger suspicion, maybe force you to re-authenticate, even if your initial login was fine. It's continuous verification based on risk signals.
Wow, okay, so identity is one big piece. What about the devices themselves? You mentioned checking their health.
Yes, device security is paramount. Every single thing trying to connect laptop, phone, tablet, even like a smart sensor on a factory floor is treated as potentially hostile until proven otherwise.
Guilty until proven innocent.
Pretty much. Zero Trust demands that the device meets strict security requirements before it's allowed any access. Is it fully patched? Is the operating system up to date? Is endpoint security software running and updated? Is the disk encrypted?
So, no connecting with that ancient laptop running Windows XP.
Uh-huh. Definitely not. If a device fails these checks, if it looks risky, it gets blocked or put into a restricted quarantine network where it can be fixed, but can't access sensitive resources.
How do you enforce that? What tools check the devices?
This is where things like endpoint detection and response, or EDR solutions, come in. They're way more sophisticated than old-school antivirus.
Okay.
EDR tools constantly monitor what's happening on the device processes, network connections, file changes. They use behavioral analysis and threat intelligence to spot suspicious activity in real time.
So they're actively hunting for threats on the endpoint.
Exactly. If it sees malware trying to run, or a connection to a known malicious server, or weird encryption activity suggesting ransomware, the EDR tool can often automatically block it, isolate the device from the network, and alert the security team.
So even if a personal device gets infected somehow, the EDR can stop it from spreading into the company network.
That's the goal. It acts as a crucial layer of defense right on the device itself, ensuring a compromised endpoint doesn't become an open door.
Okay, identity checked, device checked. What about the network itself? You said no more big flat networks.
Right. That old model of a single trusted internal network where once you were inside, you could potentially reach almost anything. That's gone in Zero Trust. Instead, you chop the network up
Into little pieces.
into tiny, isolated pieces. This is called microsegmentation. Think of it not as one big castle, but as a building with hundreds of small, locked rooms, each requiring specific keycard access.
So you create mini perimeters inside the main network?
Exactly. You build these digital Berlin walls around specific applications or datasets or groups of servers. You might put the HR database in its own tiny segment, totally isolated from, say, the marketing file server segment.
So getting into one segment doesn't automatically give you access to others.
Not at all. You need separate, explicit authorization for each segment you need to reach. Want to get to the finance systems? You need the specific key for that room, even if you're already inside the building.
That sounds like it would really limit how far an attacker could get if they did breach one part.
Massively. It contains the blast radius.
Wow.
If someone clicks a phishing link in marketing and that segment is compromised, the attacker is stuck there. They can't easily jump over to engineering or finance because those are separate locked-down segments. It makes lateral movement incredibly difficult.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Identity, device, network segmentation. What else is in the toolkit?
Well, overseeing all of this, you absolutely need continuous monitoring. We keep coming back to it because it's fundamental.
The always watching part.
The always watching, always analyzing part. Zero trust simply doesn't work if you're not constantly collecting and scrutinizing security data from everywhere.
What kind of tools do that? That sounds like a ton of data.
It is a ton of data. This is where SIEM systems, security information, and event management come in, often now boosted by SOAR platforms, security orchestration, automation, and response.
Okay, SIEM and SOAR. What do they do?
Think of SIEM as the central collection point and correlation engine. It pulls in logs and security events from firewalls, servers, endpoints, via EDR, authentication systems, applications, everything.
So it sees the whole picture.
It tries to.
Yeah.
It then correlates these events, looking for patterns, anomalies, indicators of attack based on threat intelligence feeds and predefined rules. Like, hey, this user failed login 5 times, then successfully logged in from a weird location, and is now trying to access a sensitive database they never touch.
Okay, so it connects the dots.
Exactly. And SOAR often takes it a step further, helping automate the response. So if the SIEM detects that suspicious pattern, a SOAR playbook might automatically trigger actions like temporarily disabling the user account, blocking the IP address, and creating an alert ticket for a human analyst to investigate.
So it speeds up the reaction.
Dramatically. Which is crucial when dealing with fast-moving threats. This continuous monitoring and automated response capability is what allows you to detect and shut down attacks quickly, ideally before major damage is done.
Right. And finally, let's circle back to least privilege. We mentioned it as a principle, but it's also enforced by specific tools and policies, right?
Absolutely. It's not just a concept, it's implemented technically. Why give someone keys to the whole kingdom when they only need access to one room?
So how do you enforce giving only the minimum necessary access?
Primarily through robust access control mechanisms. The most common is role-based access control, or RBAC.
RDAC. Define access based on someone's job role.
Exactly. You define roles like sales rep, accountant, system admin, and then assign specific permissions to each role. Users are assigned roles based on their job function. It's much more manageable and secure than assigning permissions individually to thousands of users.
Makes sense.
And increasingly, we're seeing attribute-based access control, or ABAC, being used for even more granularity.
ABAC, how's that different?
ABAC makes access decisions based on multiple attributes, not just the user's role. It can consider attributes of the user, like department security clearance, attributes of the resource they're trying to access, like data sensitivity level, the action they're trying to take, read, write, delete, and even environmental attributes, time of day, location, device health.
Wow, so it's much more dynamic and context aware.
Much more. It allows for really fine-grained policies like allow finance managers to read confidential reports between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. from a corporate-managed device located in the U.S., but block all other access attempts.
Okay, that's incredibly specific.
It is, and that specificity is key to enforcing least privilege effectively. By tightly controlling who can access what, when, and how, you drastically minimize the potential attack surface. Even if an attacker compromises an account, the limited permissions of that account severely restrict what they can actually do. Containment by design.
Okay, we've talked principles, we've talked tools, but what's it actually like living and working in a zero-trust environment? Let's put ourselves in the shoes of, say, a typical employee.
Right. The day-to-day experience.
Yeah. Paint me a picture. I start my workday. What happens?
Okay. So you fire up your laptop. First, you probably have to log into the device itself, maybe with a PIN or biometric. Then, to connect to the company network or cloud apps, you'll hit that MFA prompt.
Password, then maybe a phone push notification.
Yep, or a code from an authenticator app, or maybe even a physical security key you have to plug in. That's step one. But before you even get full access, the system is likely checking your device's health in the background.
The posture check.
Exactly. Is it patched? Is the EDR running? Any detected threats? If your device looks unhealthy, you might get blocked entirely or shunted to a remediation network until it's fixed.
Okay, assuming my device passes muster and I get authenticated.
Or
Rest net.
Now you try to do your job. Let's say you need to access a shared project folder or a specific application. You click on it, and you might just get access if your role explicitly allows it.
Brr.
Or you might get an access denied message, even if you think you should have access. The system, based on least privilege, might require you to explicitly request access for that specific resource.
So I have to fill out a request form?
Probably. Submit a request, maybe state why you need access. It goes for approval, maybe to your manager, maybe to the resource owner. You wait. Could be minutes, could be longer. Then you get notified if it's approved.
And then I can open the file.
Then you can open the file. And maybe you only have read access, not write access, unless you specifically requested and were granted that too. And your access might only be temporary, say, for the duration of the project.
Wow. That sounds potentially annoying.
It can be, let's be honest. From a user's point of view, it can definitely feel like more friction, more hoops to jump through compared to the old days of wide open access.
Like trying to work in that hazmat suit you mentioned?
Uh-huh. Yeah, maybe sometimes. The constant prompts, the potential delays waiting for access, it requires a mental adjustment. You have to move from expecting seamless, instant access to understanding that access is conditional, verified, and specific.
But there's a reason for the friction.
Absolutely. Looking at the bigger picture, all those annoying checks and balances are precisely what's keeping the companies and potentially your own sensitive data safe. It's the trade-off.
A bit of inconvenience for a lot more security.
Exactly. That friction is the defense mechanism against potentially devastating breaches. It might slow you down occasionally, but it's designed to stop attackers cold, or at least make their job incredibly difficult. And ultimately, a more secure environment means less risk of major disruptions, data loss, or reputational damage, which benefits everyone.
Okay, so that's the employee view. What about the poor folks in IT and security who have to actually build and manage this whole thing?
Ah, yes. Their perspective is different.
I bet. You described it as juggling flaming torches on a unicycle.
That's not far off sometimes. Deploying and managing a full zero-trust architecture is a massive, complex undertaking. It's not flipping a single switch.
What are they actually doing?
They're designing the architecture, selecting and integrating all those tools we talked about, MFA, EDR, microsegmentation, firewalls, SIEMs, access control systems. They have to configure incredibly granular policies. They're dealing with legacy systems that weren't built for this. They're managing identities for users, devices, applications. They're constantly monitoring those SIEM alerts, investigating potential incidents, tuning the policies.
And dealing with users who get locked out or complain about the friction.
And dealing with users, yes. Explaining why things are the way they are, providing support, maybe patiently explaining to executives why their simple password isn't okay anymore. It requires deep technical skills, patience, and strong communication. It's a huge operational lift.
So why do they do it? What's the payoff for all that pain?
The payoff is huge, even with the complexity. A well-implemented zero-trust strategy demonstrably reduces the number and severity of security breaches.
Fewer fires to put out.
Fewer fires, and the fires that do start are much smaller and easier to contain because of things like microsegmentation and least privilege. This means less downtime, lower recovery costs, better protection of sensitive data. It also means much smoother sailing during security audits and compliance checks. Auditors love seeing robust zero-trust controls.
Happy auditors, that's a win.
Definitely. And frankly, there's a certain satisfaction for security teams in knowing they've built a genuinely resilient defense, that they're proactively managing risk instead of just reacting to the latest attack.
Yeah.
It shifts their role from perpetual firefighters to strategic defenders.
Okay, but it can't be all sunshine and successful defenses. You mentioned complexity. What are the real hurdles, the big challenges in actually doing zero trust?
Oh, there are definitely significant hurdles. It's crucial to be realistic about them. Zero trust isn't magic.
So challenge number one.
Implementation complexity and cost. Like we said, it's often like renovating your house while living in it. Integrating all these new tools and policies with existing infrastructure, especially older legacy systems, can be incredibly difficult and time-consuming.
Legacy systems just weren't designed for this granularity.
Not at all. They often lack the APIs or capabilities needed, requiring awkward workarounds or expensive replacements. And then there's the user resistance and the need for cultural change.
Getting everyone on board with the friction.
Yes, it requires significant training, communication, and change management to help employees understand why these changes are necessary and adapt their workflows. And the cost.
Yeah, the budget crying for mercy.
It's not cheap. The tools themselves can be expensive, but often the biggest cost is the skilled personnel needed to design, implement, manage, and monitor the whole thing. Security experts aren't cheap, and you need quite a few of them for a proper zero-trust rollout.
So it's a major investment in technology and people.
Absolutely. And another challenge, zero trust doesn't make you invincible. Let's be very clear about that.
It doesn't stop all attacks.
No silver bullets in security. It makes attacks much harder and less likely to succeed catastrophically, but determined attackers will always look for ways around defenses. New vulnerabilities, sophisticated social engineering, insider threats, risks remain.
Hackers are like cockroaches. They find a way.
That's a grim but somewhat accurate analogy.
Yeah.
They adapt. Zero trust raises the bar significantly, but it doesn't eliminate risk entirely. And for some organizations, especially smaller ones,
The cost might just be too high, like the Ferrari analogy.
yeah, a full-blown top-tier zero-trust implementation might be overkill or simply unaffordable for a small business with a limited IT budget and staff. They need to adopt the principles least privilege, MFA, patching fees, but maybe implement them using more pragmatic, less expensive tools, focusing on their highest risks first. It's not necessarily an all-or-nothing proposition.
Right, scale it to your needs and resources. But even with the cost and complexity, the argument is that the cost of not doing it, the cost of a major breach,
Is potentially far, far higher. When you look at the potential financial losses from remediation, lawsuits, fines, lost business, plus the often irreparable damage to reputation and customer trust.
suddenly the investment in zero trust looks less like an expense and more like essential insurance.
Exactly. In today's threat landscape, for most organizations of any significant size, it's increasingly viewed as a fundamental cost of doing business securely in the digital age, a necessary price for survival.
So wrapping our heads around all this, what's the big picture takeaway? Where's this all heading? Is zero trust just the current buzzword, or is it really the future?
I think the consensus is clear now. As we push through 2025 and look ahead, zero trust is way beyond being just a trend. It's become a foundational necessity.
The digital lifeboat.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
It's the necessary evolution of security thinking required to navigate the waters we're in now.
Yeah.
It's becoming the default expectation, the standard approach.
And why is it so necessary now? What's driving this inevitability?
Several things are converging. One is the increasing sophistication of attacks. Think AI-powered threats.
AI writing phishing emails or finding bugs.
Exactly. AI can generate incredibly convincing, personalized phishing campaigns at scale. It can automate vulnerability discovery, create polymorphic malware that constantly changes. The offense is getting smarter, faster.
So the defense has to level up.
It has to. Then you have the looming, maybe still over the horizon, but real threat of quantum computing,
Breaking encryption.
potentially breaking much of the cryptography that underpins our current security. While Q-Day might still be a way off, organizations need to start thinking about quantum-resistant security. And zero-trust principles, like microsegmentation and continuous verification, provide a framework that's inherently more resilient if one layer like encryption is weakened.
Preparing for the future.
Right. And then there's the persistent factor we keep mentioning.
Still using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Sadly, yes. The human element isn't going away. People will still make mistakes, fall for scams. Zero trust is the best model we have for building systems that are resilient despite that ongoing human fallibility. It's designed for the reality of the escalating threat landscape.
Now we're seeing companies actually adopt this widely now, right? It's not just theory.
Oh, absolutely. Adoption is accelerating across the board. The big tech players, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, they've been leaders implementing it internally and building zero trust capabilities into their cloud platforms.
So they're pushing it too.
Definitely. But it's far beyond just tech now. Governments are mandating it. Like the U.S. federal government has executive orders pushing agencies towards zero trust. Financial services, healthcare, critical infrastructure. Any sector dealing with sensitive data or high risk is moving aggressively in this direction.
Even my local credit union might be doing this.
They very likely are. or should be. It's becoming the expected standard of care for protecting sensitive information. Paranoia, or rather principled skepticism, is definitely the new black in security.
So the ultimate question then, will zero trust save us all? Is this the final answer to cybersecurity woes?
If we connect this to the bigger picture,
Mm,
probably not entirely. That might
right.
be too optimistic.
Why not?
Because, as we've said, attackers are incredibly innovative. They will always find new angles, new vulnerabilities, and humans will always be, well, human. There's no magic bullet that eliminates all risk forever. Security is a continuous process, an arms race.
Okay, so it's not a perfect shield.
Not a perfect shield,
But,
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 but it is by far the best approach we have right now. It represents a fundamental improvement over the old perimeter models. It provides the strongest, most adaptable, most resilient defense strategy currently available to keep those digital wolves at bay.
it makes their job much, much harder.
Infinitely harder.
Yeah.
It significantly reduces the likelihood of a successful breach and dramatically limits the impact if one does occur. It doesn't guarantee safety, but it massively shifts the odds in favor of the defenders. It's a darn good start, and a necessary one. #HagOutro.
All right, so let's try and wrap this deep dive up. We've covered a lot of ground on zero trust. The core message seems to be, assume nothing is safe. Assume everyone could be a threat. Verify absolutely everything constantly, and lock down access to the bare minimum needed.
That's a pretty good summary. Distrust, then verify, verify, verify.
Right. It's not perfect. We established that. It's definitely not cheap or easy to implement. And yeah, for users, it can sometimes feel like a pain.
A necessary pain, perhaps.
It's a necessary pain, exactly. Because in this world where a single data breach can cost millions, ruin reputations, maybe even sink a company, zero trust is emerging as the best, most essential strategy we currently have.
It's the reality of security in 2025.
So thinking about you, our listener, what does this all mean for your daily life? Zero trust isn't just some abstract thing for giant corporations. The mindset is relevant to everyone.
Absolutely.
Where could you apply a little bit of that zero trust thinking yourself? Maybe double checking who an email is really from before clicking that link, even if it looks like it's from your boss or your bank?
Questioning those urgent requests for information or action.
Or maybe not automatically trusting public Wi-Fi, using a VPN, thinking twice before granting apps broad permissions on your phone.
Yeah, or even in the physical world. Verifying your rideshare driver matches the app before hopping in. Okay, maybe that's stretching it.
Maybe a little. But the principle holds. Don't just assume things are legitimate or safe by default. Apply a healthy skepticism.
Think about the assumptions you make online every day. The emails you trust, the links you click without a second thought, the connections you make. Could adding just a touch more skepticism, that hint of zero-trust paranoia, make your personal digital life significantly safer?
It probably could. Question the defaults, verify the unexpected, protect your own digital perimeter, your accounts, your devices with that same kind of vigilance.
It's about taking ownership of your own security posture.
So go forth and be paranoid, friends. In a healthy way, of course. Verify your logins, secure your devices, update your software, and please never ever trust an email promising you a Nigerian prince's fortune.
Solid advice.
Zero trust isn't just cybersecurity jargon. It really is a survival strategy for navigating 2025 and whatever comes next. Now, if you'll excuse me, I think my smart fridge just sent me an MFA request to dispense ice. Gotta make sure it's not a phishing attempt.
Better safe than sorry.